Welcome back to an exciting video. And what we're going to do today is we're going to absolutely clarify which way you turn a freaking truss rod. So I get a lot of emails and from people asking me about truss rods. Which way do I turn it? What, am I looking at the bottom? Am I looking at the top? Am I on the top side of the guitar? Am I on the bottom side of the guitar? And I get a tremendous amount of emails about that, and I never really think about, I just fire them off an answer and I let it go at that. And, we'll turn it this way to do this, turn it that way to do that. And so I get a question from, let's see, let me get this fellow's name. And this is the one that kind of got me thinking about this a little more. So I get a question from Marvin Ortiz, and his question got me thinking. And he said, I thought to add relief, you loosen it, which is to turn it to the left and not right. Okay, typical question. But this is one that got me thinking. Or is it the perspective that's confusing me, like stage left and actual stage left? And I thought, dude, I understand that, because being that for a living, I shoot video. The stage left, exit stage left thing has just been one of those things forever that people like. So when you say exit stage left, they always go to the right, or they stand there and they go, which way do I need to be going? And it becomes the perspective of how you're looking at it. So on a guitar, it's the same way. It's the perspective from where you're standing. So, and I'm going to go ahead and start doing this while I talk here for a minute. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the truss rod cover. This is my Sandoval Randy Rhoads copy. This is literally one of the most fun guitars I have. I love playing this thing, and it actually plays shockingly well. And the weird thing is there's zero relief in this neck. It almost has a back bow, but it will sustain forever. And that's kind of a mystery to me. Put a back bow in a guitar and for it to sustain. And it's almost, I hate to touch it, but it does have here, you can't hear it because of the microphone. On the G string, all the way up, it's got fret buzz. And on the D. So I'm going to assume this is about a 12-inch radius on the neck. I've never really looked at it, to be honest with you. But it will sustain for days, which is ridiculous to me considering it has a back bow. But I do want to get rid of that buzz. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off this plate here. Get this out of the way. But I have a lot of people ask me this question, and I never really thought about it until he said it, or is it from the perspective? And I thought, well, that's probably what's confusing a lot of people, is the perspective of it. And so because he asked me that question, I sat there the other night, and I am not kidding you, I probably watched 50 videos on this very thing on YouTube, and they all said the same thing. To loosen it, turn it this direction. To tighten it, turn it this direction. Okay, so what does that do? If I loosen it, does it put a bow in it, or does it put an arc in it? If I tighten it, what does it do? Nobody is saying that. They're all saying to loosen it, go this direction, to tighten it, go this direction, and that's all they're saying. So I figured the best thing we need to do is we need to kind of understand what's going on here. So we're going to take this off. I've already got my trusty Allen wrenches. We're going to pull these. We're going to get these loose and take off, because this is a locking nut guitar. And sorry about the giggling. I've not been drinking, I swear. I just think it's funny that I would never bash anybody for anything. That's just not, well, that's not true. I would bash the hell out of a lot of people for a lot of things. Because I got a new channel coming up called Angry Guy Hates Everything, based on one of the people who made a comment to me on this channel. I thought that's just a great idea. So, but for people on their YouTube channels and stuff, I would never bash them for what they do. Unless you just do something completely stupid, then I'm going to bash the hell out of you. But I just thought it odd that nobody was answering the question. So what do you do? So how do you turn it? If I turn it this way, if I turn it clockwise, what does it do to the neck? If I turn it counterclockwise, what does it do to the neck? Loosening it and tightening it is not telling me anything. So what we're going to do, this neck, like I said, this neck, it literally has it's almost got a back bow in it, which is weird because it sustains so well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some relief in this neck, okay? So this is how you do it, and this is how you look at this. And I'm sorry, I just think this is hilarious for some ridiculous reason. If I want to make the neck bow like this, okay, sitting here at the guitar, and I'm looking at the guitar as if I'm playing the guitar, I am going to put this Allen wrench into this hole where there is a nut in there, an Allen head. I'm going to push it away from me, and I will show you right now, this guitar has zero relief. When I fret this at the first and up here, it is literally laying on the string, which means that this guitar neck is dead straight or it has a slight back bow in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in here. Now this one's kind of tricky to adjust. This one's kind of hard. I don't know why. It just, the wrench never wants to go into the freaking head on this one. And I'm going to turn this away from me. Oh my God. Now that was a big turn. Remember, small turns make huge differences. But for the sake of this video, we're going to do this further than I should. So I am loosening the truss rod. I'm turning it, looking at it from this perspective, I'm turning it clockwise. Looking at it from this perspective here, not this perspective. Well, I guess if I'm turning it clockwise this way, I go this way. It was, no. It'd be counterclockwise from the top of the guitar. But looking at it this way. Now, when I fret this off, now I've got a little relief in the neck. So what I've done is I've added a little bit of bow to the neck. So, and let's just say for the sake of argument, just for the sake of this video, we're going to loosen the hell out of this thing. Kind of curious myself, to be honest with you, what's going to happen. And this one is so hard to get it into. That's what she said. Now I've got quite a bit of a bow in this neck. And it's very visible. And of course, now the action is crap. It's a mile high. I mean, I'm sure you guys can't see that, but the action is just massively high now. Now, granted, I still got to do some setup on this trim especially. I got to get everything set back up because I've replaced the pickups and all this stuff in it, and this guitar is seriously cool. So now the action is crazy high. It does have a bow in it. So now we're going to tighten it back up, all right? And this is how I remember this. If you're sitting in a chair and you're leaning forward, to straighten up, you go backwards. To straighten up, you go backwards. Same thing on a guitar neck. Looking at it from this perspective, to straighten the guitar neck, you go backwards. You bring it towards you as you're straightening up. And believe it or not, that's how I remembered this. Because when I first started working on guitars, I could remember this to save my life. And then the fact that some of my guitars have the adjustment down here. My EVHs have them down here. And it drives me crazy because I would always get the two messed up. This one is so hard to get into. So now we're tightening the neck back up. All right. Just brought my action down a little bit. And that is about correct there. I've got just a minimal amount of play above the frets. A ton of sustain. And that got rid of a tremendous amount of that fret buzz. Now I still have some because if you've watched any of my other videos, when you're adjusting this, it is a balancing act between the truss rod, this nut, and this bridge. And in order to get this perfect, these three elements have to be perfect. It's not just one thing. And if anybody says, well, if you just want to get rid of fret buzz, just adjust your truss rod and you're good to go. Well, that's true, but now your action sucks. So you've got to go in and you've got to make other adjustments. Now, if you're going to do if you're having just a little bit of fret buzz, just a touch, and you want to remove it, yeah, just give it a quarter turn, if that much, honestly, and it'll probably remove the fret buzz. But anytime you adjust one part of this, you've got to kind of follow up by adjusting all the other parts to get it correct. This guitar now is not correct. I do have the truss rod set. Actually, the neck is actually sitting dead straight, to where before it actually had a back bow in it. And it still sustains, but the action's still very high because of this. So this is what I'll have to adjust next, which I'm not going to do for the sake of this video. So adjusting a truss rod in your guitar, depending on your perspective, sit at the guitar as if you're playing it. I play a guitar this way, so the guitar is sitting as if I was playing it. Put said wrench into said hole, into said nut, into said head, in order to straighten it. Remember, if you're sitting in a chair and you lean back, you're straightening up. The same thing with this truss rod. In order to straighten it, put your wrench in and lean it back to straighten your neck. Obviously, it works on the opposite side. To put a bow in it, if I want to put a bow in my back, I lean forward and I bow my back. If I want to bow my neck, I lean forward and I push it away from me. And hopefully that answers the question of how do you adjust the neck. Sorry for the laughing. I just, for some reason, find this hilarious because I've watched, like I said, I watched a bazillion videos and not one person explained it. Well, to loosen it, turn it this way. To tighten it, turn it this way. Okay, great. What does that do? What does it do when I loosen it or tighten it? And so I thought, you know what, let me just go ahead and do this and get this done. So I'm going to wrap this one up right there. That is how you adjust the neck on a guitar on my beautiful Sandoval. This is actually not a Sandoval. This is a copy. But you know what? It's still cool as shit. Look at that. And yes, I went with the blue because my wife loves blue. And you know what? That's all that matters at the end of the day. So, if you have any questions about this, let me know. And like the great Sammy Hagar says, if you miss the beat, you lose the rhythm and nothing falls into place. And until the next time I see you in the next video I put up, no matter what you do, for the love of God, rock on.